The Road to El Dorado is kind of underrated. When you think of classic 2D animated movies, I'm sure you think of movies like Mulan, Aladdin, or The Lion King, which are all great movies. However, for me, I think of an underrated gem by DreamWorks, The Road to El Dorado. Before I continue though, I have a funny story as to why I watched this movie so much as a kid that I'd like to share. I'm sure anyone who watches movies is familiar with THX certification, the sound quality company created by George Lucas. For many movies, before it starts, they would play the THX promo, which include the logo and deep note, a sound created to show off the power of the sound system. Anyways, I was terrified of it as a kid, which was unfortunate because many movies I liked had THX, such as Star Wars and many Disney movies. I'd always check the DVD boxes to see if the THX logo was there, so I knew if it was on the movie. Luckily, The Road to El Dorado did not have it, which caused me to watch it over and over as a kid. So basically, my love of this movie was born out of a crippling childhood fear of a sound system promo. Anyways, back to the movie. Let's start with the story. Miguel and Tulio are a couple of treasure-hunting swindlers living in Spain in the 1500s, who come across a map to the legendary city of gold, El Dorado. After finding it, they are mistaken as gods by the citizens, to which they try to take advantage of in order to try and get as much gold as they can before returning to Spain. I think one of the best aspects of this movie is the protagonists. Miguel and Tulio are a great pair. They have excellent chemistry and complement each other very well. Miguel, voiced by Kenneth Branagh, who most people would recognize as Gilderoy Lockhart from Harry Potter, is a very free-spirited, glass-half-full kind of person. Tulio, voiced by Kevin Kline, on the other hand, is the opposite in many ways. He's the more greedy of the two, a bit more negative, and tends to be a bit more uptight. These two personalities complement each other very well. Tulio often keeps Miguel more on track and not to be too careless, while Miguel tends to get Tulio to open up to new adventures or experiences. They also have moments that show they've been friends and partners for a long time, such as personal handshakes or routines to get themselves out of dangerous situations. All these aspects result in a fun and compelling set of protagonists, and are definitely one of the most memorable aspects of the film. Speaking of memorable, I really want to talk about the soundtrack. The movie isn't exactly a musical per se, but it features a number of excellent original songs, most of which are done by Elton frickin' John. These songs not only fit very well in the movie and story, but are just fantastic songs to listen to on their own. Some are more emotional and some are just catchy as hell, but they are consistently great and fitting to the scenes they are featured in. It's definitely one of my favorite soundtracks in film. I think one of the things the best animated films do is be enjoyable for both kids and adults alike, and this movie is no exception. It's a very fun movie for kids, but there are definitely some jokes that went over my head when I was younger, and I really enjoyed them as an adult. Not only that, but so much of the animation and visual gags I appreciate so much more now. From the little things like how the characters express themselves, to the highly stylized and visually spectacular scenes, there is so much to love in this movie. It's an overall comedic and visual treat. The Road to El Dorado is definitely one of my favorite animated films. It's one of those movies I'm super nostalgic for. I remember my last rewatch and just being blasted with nostalgia upon seeing the opening scene. And while I'm sure that this definitely plays a factor into my enjoyment of the film, there are so many things I love and appreciate upon rewatching this as an adult. From the great visuals and animation, fun main characters, hilarious comedy, and absolutely banging soundtrack. It's definitely a movie I recommend everyone check out. It's why I believe that The Road to El Dorado is kind of underrated.